Hundreds of people packed into the Aker gym on the Chico State campus this afternoon to remember the life of Cody Hein, a legendary volleyball coach that died earlier this year. Reporter Michael Patterson was there during the emotional event and joins us live from Chico. Good evening, Michael.
Good evening, Julia. Hein's passing was just over 3 weeks ago at this point, and emotions were still running quite high here inside the Aker gym. Quite a diverse crowd here honoring his life from a man who was described by his brother as passionate, resilient, and unrelenting. A father, a mentor, a coach. Those were just some of the titles people here inside Aker Gym used to describe Cody Hein. Hein became a legend on the Chico State campus in the 17 years he spent as the head coach of the women's volleyball team, in that time becoming the winningest coach in program history. But it was the impact he had off the court that allowed him to influence so many lives.
The word that I would think of with Cody is passionate, and he was such an advocate for the sport across the nation.
Anita Barker worked with Hein as the director of athletics at the university and hired him in 2003. Today was a bittersweet one, but one that Barker says Hein would have been proud of.
His legacy goes beyond just these hallways. It's in the community, it's in the sport that he loved, and I think that's really what we're celebrating today.
A further testament to what he meant to people was the crowd itself that was filled with friends, family, former players, and even rivals on the court. Young and old, taking time to remember the life of a man described as truly exceptional. Reporting live from outside Aker Gym in Chico, Michael Patterson, KRCR News Channel 7, the North States News.
Cody Barton Hein, born on February 11th, 1972. He left us on January 24th of this year. I know you can hear us, Cody. Your presence is felt by every one of us here today. We all know you don't want to be the center of attention. You never did. But wherever you are right now, I suggest you put your feet up, you crack a soda, and you prepare to listen for a little while. Because today, Cody, the Bean, Coach Hein, Uncle Bean, Dad, your family, your friends, their families, your colleagues, your mentors, your proteges, and all of their friends and families, because let's face it, when you hook up with the Hines, you get the whole traveling circus. Your classmates, your teammates, the student athletes that you coached, they're all here to celebrate you today, Cody. And perhaps I think even more important than celebrate, I suspect what you're going to hear today is that they're all here to thank you. Because Coach Hein taught all of us something. Not just the people on his team, but all of us. He taught us what it means to be tough, resilient, and to live your life to its fullest. But before we begin this celebration, there are two things that I need to say to my dear friend Cody. First, while I suspect that only perhaps with your soulmate Dana and your mom Judy did you share the depth of the pain that you were in these past few years, you wouldn't let us talk about it. You would deflect it with your humor, your eternal optimism, and your care for other people. But we knew, Cody, we knew. That's the way you wanted. You did not want us to recognize it. But today, I just want you to know that we knew, and we are all, in some part, grateful that that pain and suffering is now over for you. And we are truly grateful for that. Second, I know right now, Bean, that the thing you are worrying about more than anything is that Dana and those boys are going to be all right. Actually, I'm going to correct that. 98% of what you're worried about is that Dana and the boys are going to be all right. 1% is worried about what the Red Sox are going to do to fill a hole left by Mookie Betts. And he also wants to know who the hell is going to tell the Chico State Wildcats to establish the slide before that game. But the girls, Dana and the boys would want it that way, Cody. That's the part of you they loved. But let me tell you this, my dear friend, you can rest well, because there are hundreds of people here today. We got your back. We got Dana and the boys, and they're going to be okay. So, Bean, wherever you are, I hope you're comfortable, because we're going to celebrate you and thank you in the style that you would like us to. We're going to have some fun here this afternoon, but in our hearts, We all miss you, and you will be with us forever. To start off these memories, I would like to welcome one of Cody's colleagues for many years here at Chico State, Athletic Director Anita Barker. Would like to say a few words with Coach Hein.
Thanks, Flip. Well, thank you all. We knew we were going to get a crowd, so I'm not surprised. It's my honor and my privilege to stand before you today and pay tribute to Cody, for Dana, for the boys, for Judy and Mel, for the time he served as the Chico State women's volleyball head coach. As you all know, Cody came to Chico in 2003. What I didn't really realize until last night, actually, when I was looking back over to make sure my notes were okay, is that Cody's actually the first head coach that I hired as the athletic director. Mitch, wherever you are up there in the stands, our former associate AD, he gets credit for the search, but I actually made the offer. So Cody and I had a 17-year journey. You all know that he worked until the very end. Day before he passed, he was here in the office. And for those of you that knew him so well, that is not a surprise. Cody compiled a 27-8, 278 to 207, record while he was here. He was recognized twice by his peers in the CCAA as Coach of the Year, and in 2016 was recognized as the West Region Coach of the Year. During the time that Cody and I had a boss-coach, AD-coach relationship, like all ADs and coaches, like all bosses, employees, it was sometimes really great, and sometimes we had to, have that conversation in my office. But it was always Cody's way to be a professional no matter what. I had the privilege to watch him grow as a coach, to watch Dana and him grow their beautiful family, to watch him become a respected leader in his field, and to support him as he battled the unsurmountable odds that ultimately took him from us. Cody was the type of coach that made an administrator better. He debated, he challenged, he expected perfection. He was passionate about volleyball, devoted to his student athletes and his sport. He took responsibility to be an advocate for the sport. He took that responsibility seriously, and he was always fighting for what was right. We all know he was a fierce competitor. He cared deeply for his colleagues, always paid attention to how other programs were doing, always there to give, share a laugh, give support. The last email that I got from Cody was the Wednesday night before he passed. I was at the NCAA convention. We have our conference meetings there. There was a hot topic going on with volleyball coaches. One of the coaches that Cody regularly jarred with had stirred some stuff up. So the last email I got from Cody was my instructions of how I was to vote to defend our position at the CCA meeting. So I'm gonna keep that sign hanging on my wall. But really what I wanted to do today was gather thoughts from his colleagues. Our mantra here at Chico State is Wildcat Family. People in the hallway are who makes that family. So I reached out to them. I reached out to folks across the conference. And so if you'll indulge me, I'm gonna read some of their comments. From the hallway, Cody was the ultimate stat rat. He was always asking for the unusual, out-of-the-box stat breakdown and would pore over them to find any possible way that he could get a competitive edge. We all know he did some time as a compliance coordinator. I used to refer to Cody as my co-compliance coordinator. With his past experience and attention to detail, he was someone I could go to and ask questions or bounce things off to get a coach's perspective. We also shared a love of TV shows and movies of our youth. I could always count on Cody to understand my odd TV or movie reference and share a laugh. From another one of his colleagues, Cody was absolutely devoted to his players, past and present. Each season, he would collect photos, game programs, and website stories and present a memory book to each of his graduating seniors. From a wall mate, as you all know, our coaches are lined up down the hallway, so this is from one of the coaches who shared a wall with him. All of the coaches are so busy with our daily lives and managing our teams that it's difficult to step outside our bubbles. Cody had a knack for stepping into your bubble, asking about your team, conversing about the situations you are currently dealing with, and in a very genuine way. These interactions have helped me, have reminded me to pay attention to others and to be as supportive and genuine as he was to me. And then there was the laughter. Sharing a wall with Cody, I would often hear his laughter as he as an assistant would be working together on something. It was evident that despite being very serious about what he did, Cody enjoyed doing it. From his colleagues in the CCAA, Cody taught me how to coach. We talked about volleyball for most of his 17 years. His teams were the embodiment of him. And over the years, I could identify a Cody kid or a Cody personality trait. They were all fighters. Time was important. They were going to be ready before you were. Confident and proud with a swagger and passion, and when the match was done, Cody was humble, had honor, and was a friend. Another colleague, Cody was the first coach I met in person when I joined the CCAA. We met at a preseason tournament. He introduced himself to me and was very welcoming. I could tell immediately he was a passionate, genuine, shoot from the hip, positive person that truly showed his love of the sport through his coaching. When we played each other this past season, and for all of you that didn't know, Cody coached this last season. He wasn't able to go on the road, but he was on this sideline every game. He sent this coach a text after the game. "Congrats to you, your coaching staff, and your team. You fought and scrapped and clawed your way to victory, picking up pieces of confidence all along the way. I love competing against you. It's an honor. Your girls will come to appreciate who they had leading them as a warrior in the battles they had in college. That, in and of itself, is what coaching and mentoring is really about. Keep getting after it." This colleague closed with, "I have so much respect for Cody. He is the quintessential warrior, and this text meant so much to me coming from him." Another colleague, "I didn't know Cody that well, but in my short time in the conference, I grew to love competing against him the most. I would like to think that our rivalry was as fun for him as it was for me, and I know that over the years, our scores reflected that competitiveness we both loved. This past fall, Cody sent me a text when he knew he couldn't travel for our match, and what I love most about it was this: 'Good luck tonight. I love getting after it in the kelp bed, one of my favorite gyms. Wish I could be there to compete our asses off and mash each other's heads in, then go grab a beer. But since I can't do either, I'll have to settle for watching through the computer. Have fun and compete.'" A few more from the hallway. On the Tuesday before he passed, Cody stopped me and told me he really enjoyed hanging out at the Christmas party. "Good laughs," he said, referring to us arguing at the party about who had been ejected more out of their games and their careers. Another from a colleague down the hall, about a week before Cody passed, he sent me a text to ask me how the team was doing and told me to kick some ass this year. With everything he was going through at that time, he took the time and found the energy to ask me how I was and sent me some positive vibes for our season. Cody has been a huge inspiration for me from another coach. Many times over the past year, when I faced adversity, I would often think about Cody and how he handled real adversity, and he has helped me to persevere. Cody lives on in all of us, up and down the hallway. His sense of purpose and passion for teaching sport and young people is something we will all admire. He would want us to believe in young people and to keep them improving. To Dana, Austin, Jackson, and Davis, as you can tell by these comments, Cody's impact on Chico State athletics, the sport of volleyball, was profound. His zest for life, his passion for the sport, and his fight will never be forgotten. Finally, I'm going to close with some comments from one of his wall mates in the hallway. and I think it best speaks for all of us in the Wildcat family. It hurts knowing that Chico State has lost a great man and an amazing coach. It hurts knowing that we've lost a great friend. One of the things that I keep going back to, though, is that a year ago, we thought we had lost Cody. But, as Cody does, he stormed back with an amazing comeback, which gave us all another chance to truly enjoy and embrace our last days with him. We will be forever grateful for each day that we had with him, and we'll certainly take all of the positives we can from his energy and apply it to everything that we do as we move on without him. Thank you.
I've had the pleasure of knowing him we've had the pleasure of knowing him for 12 years. He's the first man I met when I took the head coaching job here at Chico State, and we became good friends, our family friends, and we've raised our children together and just been best friends for a long time. And again, one of the best men I've ever met. It's just been a privilege to have known him and just kind of lived our lives together. So I'm gonna miss him.
I feel like, from my standpoint, from on the family side, they were our first friends here, Dana and Cody, and they just took us in and was really great for me because I was coming in not knowing anybody and just being a part of their life. And he is so patient with the kids, and it was great. And just volleyball camp, he's like, yeah, bring them, and just with our daughter in particular, he's very patient. And Ellie loves him and stuff, so I don't know.
Cody's college family before he made his way up here to Chico State, the Golden Bears and his friends up at the camp, the Lair of the Bear. On behalf of that group, I'd like to welcome Ted Cobley to say a few words about Cody.
Wow. So I met Cody when I was about 10 years old at the Lair of the Bear, and he was Tony Donahue's Hawaiian cousin. And from that day on, we were friends and partners in all things for 1 week every summer. But it was never enough. Cody was a year older and always one step ahead in everything he did. He was my original coach in volleyball and Russian softball and beer drinking and girls and water skiing, whatever. In Cody, I could see the birth of cool. I'd come home from a week with Cody, having absorbed what bits I could. I'd go get his cool haircut. I'd wear the jerseys that he left behind in our tent. And I keep practicing all the things that he did so effortlessly. Cody was always welcomed everywhere we went. I feel like a stranger would have enjoyed his company. Cobarton would win a match of doubles and then a softball game, and then he'd play some paddleball, then a hearts tournament, and he'd still make the party. He could drive us 3 hours each way in Antony's old Volvo to see the Grateful Dead at Cal Expo, and he wouldn't miss a shift in the morning. We wore out our favorite tapes, driving every dirt road off Sonora Pass. We walked miles through the forest, looking for who knows what, usually just a cool place to watch the sunset and have a beer, share some thoughts. We played pranks on friends and those same strangers. And Cody showed us all the brain. He was the rooster and the pot man. He cooked the burgers and he hit the balls. And then he moved into the blue cook's tent just when you thought his lair days were over. Some of you were there, but it was never enough. Early on, between the music and the sports, and even before the beers, there was always one he talked about. And it wasn't his big brothers, They were legends in their own right. But some girl who lived next door to his aunt in the valley. I finally met the girl when I was about 15, on the way somewhere, but quite a bit out of the way. But it was obvious to all of us who knew them, long before it was to them, and certainly before it was obvious to Dana. But I think we can all agree that Cody loved Dana his whole life. And he was really the luckiest guy in the world, you know, to get to marry and live with his best friend. So as our lives pulled us to different ends of the country, we were only able to meet in the middle every so often. And I have a habit of calling old friends from a really slow chairlift, and he was on that list, but it was never enough. Gillette Burgess asked in the last degree, what does it mean, a friend? And some of you probably know this by heart, but for the rest, there was this anonymous reply, an answer. The last degree, you ask? I took mine here. Postgraduate, I come to share my lore. And this is it, a pipe, a stein of beer, a song, a friend. Who could ask for more? And what though the beer be poor, the pipe will hide it? What though the songs be off key, the bunch divide it? What though the smoke won't draw, the pipe will mend? For this we know, the friend is still the friend. And this I give in verse that's far too poor to carry you the message it intends. But such as it is, I offer, feeling sure the last degree is mine, for we are friends. Thank you.
So much to remember about Cody. Great man, great husband, great father, great coach, great friend. Just someone who's always been so passionate about everything that he does, passionate about his family, his friends, his relationships. Takes a lot of great pride in building those relationships and maintaining them.
Cody and I grew up together at the Lair, and we're on staff together, and we're neighbors at Cal. And I think the thing I love the most about Cody is he literally lit up a room. Everywhere we went, everyone was always so happy to see Cody. It was like bringing a party with you. And I miss him. I just miss him.
Just kind of miss him, just miss talking with him, and a lot of it's work and a lot of it's just shooting the bull and just a lot of fun times.
I realized last night when I was talking to some of the friends that were gathering that I am one of probably a dozen, maybe 10 people who could claim to be the fourth brother in the Hein family. I always thought it was me, but there are dozens of you out there. His brothers, Gary and Curtis, have been my closest friends since I was a young man, and I know they miss Cody more than anybody. But there's a chance for them to say goodbye. Gary, Curtis, you're up.
Would you like to speak first? Do you want to do it now? Okay. Okay. Thank you all for coming. Because we're here at Aker Gym, I'd like to thank the university, specifically Anita Barker, and all his athletes, past and present. Your decision to come to Chico State meant having Coach Hein as your coach. So you being here today is a testament that your first decision was the right one. For Cody, it always seemed like it was a great day to be a Wildcat, right? Cody's surgeries were when he was 3, 7, 12, 34, and 46. Let's talk a little bit about the wonderful life that he lived in between those events. Cody's life was consumed with sports: youth baseball, volleyball, high school, college volleyball, and ultimately coaching college volleyball. The theme here is definitely volleyball. He truly loved the sport, the strategy, the competition, the statistics. He loved the statistics, jeez. I don't know. The squeaks and the whistles. His greatest affection was for this athlete, so. Throughout his life, school, sports, travel, family, he garnered many wonderful friends. And honestly, how wonderful it is that you guys are here today. Please, look around. It's beautiful. Cody met Dana and they fell in love. And theirs was the commitment for better or worse, if there ever was one. Cody had some reservations about having children because of his health. And I know we are all so glad that Cody and Dana saw that the risk simply was no match for the reward. Cody was an avid historian. In honor of that, as history tells us, the walls of Jerusalem were built in troublous times. Those walls are still standing, and Cody's is too. Cody wouldn't want me to come up here and get all dreary. In fact, he knew that he'd be pissed if I gave you a long speech. So I'm going to tell you a little fact about him that some of you already know. He was a habitual drinker early in the morning of soda. He liked the heavy stuff, the Cactus Cooler, Mountain Dew, Fanta. That was his stuff. Although I'm not an example of this being a hereditary trait, there are a few people in this crowd that they're guilty. Cody filled his life full and overflowing with good stuff, he'd say. This is good stuff. No one's life was fuller. Cody's cup runneth over every single day. So in the spirit of Cody's life, cup runneth over, let us raise your Phantom, Fanta, soda. Coach Tommy, will you please? Coach Cody was a real stickler on form. So Coach, will you please stand up to show them how this is done? All right, I want you guys all, I'm not gonna shake mine. I want you to all shake your can, because what's gonna bubble over is Cody's, all right? All right, here's to Bean. Shh. This is my daughter, Audrey, and she would like to give a little speech as well.
I know we all loved Bean. He was one of the bravest persons I have ever known. I used to call him braver than brave. He tried his hardest to stay alive. God bless Uncle Bean. I'll never forget you.
Thank you, Anita, Ted, and Kurt, and Audrey. Well done. And our dear friend Flip, and everybody here. You guys are all awesome. Not quite as awesome as the friend I'm going to speak about now, but you're all awesome. This is tough, so bear with me. Tough Bear is with me. Cody was passionate, resilient, unrelenting. He lived tough and loved with all his power, which was considerable. You know, we've all kind of painted a picture of Cody. I'm going to try and intersperse a few stories that will kind of give you a little bit more background. But when we were all kids, Judy and Mel would take us to the USC football games, every USC football game at home. And we would have pools. We'd picnic and play football on the Natural History Museum lawn, and we would have pools. We'd all pick who was going to win the game and by how much. And, you know, Cody was 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, and I'm not sure he ever actually lost one of those pools in any of those seasons, primarily by saying USC was going to win 79-0. And we would all laugh, and then USC would win 69-0, and he would be the closest. Cody was, as you know, all in or all out. There wasn't really much middle ground. One story that I remember when I was, I think, 12, and Cody would have been 5, was in the backyard of the house we lived on Victory. And we would play baseball. The backyard had a path, cement path that was formed just like a third base line and a first base line, and there was a home plate, and we'd be on the corner. And the one big problem was this, because we were all right-handed, but the left field line you could not hit it to because there was huge sliding doors, glass doors. And because those glass doors were not fixable by duct tape, that would have been a major problem with Mill if we'd broken it. So we all became much better hitting the ball to the opposite field. So played with the same friends, they'd come over. One day Cody came out of the sliding door and he stood on the third baseline, which we never could hit to. But just on the off chance that I made a mistake, I said, hey Cody, you gotta move. Not a chance. Okay, look, we're gonna play, you're gonna move. Okay. Tony pitched the ball. Just a tennis ball, not a baseball. And I decided for the first time in 5 years of playing in the backyard, I was gonna hit it down the third base line, just to scare the crap out of him. Hit him right in the nose. Crying, hysterics, but he would not leave. He played third base for the rest of our game. When I went to Chico to see Dana and the boys a couple weeks ago, I took a book with me that Karin had bought me, and I was reading. And I left it in the car, I thought. I walked in the house, and the book is called Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. And I was talking to the boys, and I looked down, and the book Talking to Strangers was on their coffee table. So I don't think I brought my book in. And I could tell from his bookmark that it wasn't mine. Because mine had Cody's bookmark in it that he gave to me before the store closed while he was an undergraduate at Cal, with a nice, beautiful handwritten message on the back. So I could tell it wasn't my book, and I hadn't brought it in. So I asked Dana, is that your book? She looked at me, she said, no. Your brother was reading that book. That book has a lot of messages in it. It's a great book, but a lot of it is related to Cody too. And the one story that came to my mind immediately when she mentioned that was when Dana and Cody and our cousin Suzanne and Daniel, Ingrid, Anno from Germany, who I haven't seen since, came to visit me after they had traveled through Europe. They came to England, and we went they came to Oxford, and we cruised around England and ended in London because they were catching a flight the next day. So we'll just stay at my friend's in London, no problem. All 8 of us, with all our bags. So it turns out I couldn't get in touch with my friend. So we decided to stay in the backyard, the gardens of this apartment in London, which seemed like a great idea until like 6 o'clock in the morning when an elderly British woman came and started poking at us and excitedly yelling, "What are you doing here?" And I thought, it's my friend, is her neighbor, and I'm older than Cody, and I've lived in England. I'll take care of this. Typical Cody fashion, though, he jumped right in, talking to strangers. Now, we didn't understand much of what she said. She was really excited and angry and irritable, and, well, the British don't speak English well. And I thought I had this nailed down, no problem. It took Cody like 5 seconds to charm her, buy us enough time to gather up our considerable belongings, and make a quick escape. Malcolm Gladwell wrote the book, but I think he borrowed much of it from Cody. In Cody's office, just down the hall here, there's a ton of stickers that he used as motivation. Love them. Every time I go in there, I want to look at them. Life is too important to be taken seriously. No pissy attitudes. You rock. That one I use with my daughter all the time. But I think the most pertinent one to Cody was this: what lies behind us and what lies before us are small matters compared to what lies within us. It's a pretty good synopsis of the way Cody was and how he attacked life in every aspect of it. He didn't win the longest life award, but Cody did win the Life Best Lived award, and probably also the most impactful life award. I mean, we've sold this place out. There's standing room only. Literally. One last story, and this one I think is my favorite. Cody came up with Mel and Judy and Kurt before we went to SC and visited my roommate, Mark Moser, and I several times for weekends, sometimes a week. We took him up to Tahoe once to stay with some friends on a lakeshore house. And there were, I think, 20 to 25 college kids there and one 15-year-old. And somehow we started playing Trivia Pursuit, and we were in teams of about 6. And one guy got up to read the question to Cody's and my team. And I think the question was, what's the lowest winning hand in poker? And we kind of thought about it for a while, and Cody stood up. And he said, a 2. And another guy on our team, about the same time, just a little bit after Cody, said, a 2. College guy with a little smirk on his face, like, no, okay, they lost. He's like, no, I'm sorry, guys, it's a pair of 2s. So he went to turn around and ask someone else a question, and Cody stood up, the only 15-year-old in a room full of college kids. He said, hang on. I said a 2, and he said a 2. That's a pair of 2s. And I mean, it was unanimous, like, okay, you win. He did win. He won everything because he made all of us better. Everybody he touched, everybody he was around, he made them happier and he made them better. almost 19 years ago, on the back lawn of our family's wonderful ranch, Dana and Cody got married. Many of you were there. I gave a toast afterwards, and I told Cody that he was my hero. Heroes unite us. They use love and compassion to help us grow. Cody left us many gifts. He shined a really bright light on the importance of friendship, wit, passion, love, loyalty, standing by your beliefs, and how to be tough and not fold your hand just because you don't like your cards. I'm extremely lucky to have met many, many people in my 54 years. Much has changed in the last 19 years, but not this. You're still my hero, Cody. And you always will be. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
One thing Cody taught me was that you have to work hard for everything, and he was such a dedicated person. Like, when he put his mind to something, he always achieved it.
Yeah, every night I would usually read with him, and he's always just like, you gotta get good grades to have an amazing life. And just one thing that he was struggling with was his heart, and he never really got to do stuff that he wanted to do just because of his heart.
But he made the best out of every situation.
The best thing about my dad, he was a good man and he tried his hard to survive. And I loved him.
We love Mel and Judy. Love Dana.
Yes, we do. I can't begin to express our gratitude for having Cody in our lives and the lives of our family. We all were blessed by it.
We're very grateful.
He tried his hardest to stay alive. He was the best, one of the best uncles I could ever have. I remember I had fun with him at Legoland. It was really fun then.
Well, I got to know Cody when he became friends with our son, Josh and Seb, when he was in grade school. And they were all the goofiest kids that age, that they were so natural and unpretentious. And he was such a delightful child. And we enjoyed spending time with him, and our families skied together. And it was so much fun to watch him grow up. And he turned into an unpretentious, honest, and wonderful man. And it's been a privilege to have had him in our life, and Dana as well. I mean, they've added so much to the Cook family, and it's been a true privilege.
As many of us have had shared today, I think Curtis put it best. The reward outweighs the risk when it comes to having your family and your children. Cody's many nieces and nephews, his children, were incredibly important to him. And so now I'd like to ask the next generation of the Hein family. For those of you who grew up with Mel and Judy's generation of the Hein family, you know that they imbued a spirit of adventure. Never say no. Take that chance. Go try it. Make the best of it. Come home dirty, and you'll have a good life. I know that Gary and Curtis and Cody lived that same way. Your other brothers tried to as well. And I know that that next generation learned from Cody to do the same thing. So I'd like to welcome up Cody's niece, Sophie, his niece, Josephine, and Cody's son, Jackson, to say a few words. Sophie. Sophie will start us off.
Oh my God, hi. Okay. Over the past few weeks, I've been trying to remember stories of my uncle, anything that would remind me of the energy that he brought to life. And I was pretty frustrated at first because this was about the first one definitely, but one of the only ones that was coming to mind, so bear with me. I was 12 and the whole family was at the ranch for Thanksgiving. We went to a branding at the Stevensons and this caramel-colored puppy would not stop hugging us. What some of you might know is that puppy is now named Dakota. What some of you might not know is that just how hard I fought for this dog, for us to literally like steal him off of the ranch property and convert him into the pet that he is today. I fought really hard, and for hours that day, I begged and begged my parents to let me take this dog home. And now that I have almost past my preteen and teen years, I can tell you with certainty that my begging was not a pretty please with cherries on top. It was probably closer to torments of questions that ended with a pissy attitude, as my questions were met with answers that I did not quite like. My parents, exercising every ounce of patience they could, decided to ignore my rudeness for the time being, but Cody didn't. I can clearly remember him telling me how much of a brat I was acting like and explaining just how much respect and gratitude my parents deserved, and I was not a fan. I think one of the reasons that I still remember it is because of how it made me feel. Almost betrayed, as if I could not fully wrap my head around why my uncle was ripping on me for being a brat. This is the story of Cody that passes through my head every time I try to remember his life. And I was frustrated at first because I wanted to write something happy or magical or insightful. But I realized that life is not always handing you happy or magical or insightful moments. Sometimes it takes the best of people to push you into the mindset where you can make anything happy or magical or insightful. That was Cody to me. Cody is the man who pushes you to be the best version of yourself, maybe without you even knowing. The type of man that teaches you to value strong friendships and hard work and to forget about the notion that life is fair. I felt betrayed when he called me out on my BS because it didn't seem fair. Surely my uncle should be on my side fighting for the dog with me, but I see now how wrong that is. Cody wasn't refusing to fight with me, he was promising to fight for me. It didn't matter to him that I didn't talk to him for the rest of the day because I was scared. It mattered more to him that one day that bratty 12-year-old would grow up and realize that her uncle was fighting for who she might become because of how much she cared about her, about how she would grow up to be, or who she would grow up to be. A woman who knows that hard work, respect, and genuine love would lead me to the best of times. And a woman who knows that a pissy attitude and a closed heart will get me nowhere. Cody taught me that. Cody pushed me into positivity with a serious yet goofy, subtle yet important energy. I hope for the world that everyone gets to feel that kind of energy in their life, the one that makes you a better person. And lastly, I just wanted to say, I think for most of my life, I kind of considered Cody as invincible. And I think that the circumstances of today might contradict that, but I kind of want to argue that. I do think he is invincible. Maybe his body wasn't, but his name, his legacy, his energy that I was talking about, it's invincible. And I'm really proud to be a Hein because I know that all of us get to show the rest of the world how invincible he was.
Thank you all for coming. You're probably not going to take much from me because I'm just a kid. But I love my dad more than anything. He was the best. One of my favorite memories with my dad is when we went to Boston, Massachusetts with Flip and got to see a Red Sox game and got to sit on the Green Monster. It was fun. If you don't know what the Green Monster is, it's basically a 40-foot wall in left field, and you got to watch the game from high up. One thing I love about my dad is that whatever sport I played, he always kept track of every kid's stats. Like, for example, baseball. He'd keep track of every kid's strikeouts, their batting average. Yeah. Cody was many things. He was an athlete, a coach, an inspiration, a hard worker, a fighter, a lover, and most importantly, a father.
Hello, everyone. My name is Josephine Hein, but some people know me as JoJo, Joey, and I'm one of Cody's nieces. First, I'd like to start off by reciting a quote I once heard at a previous memorial service for one of my dad's close friends at USC. This was said by Todd Marinovich. When your time comes, people won't remember you for how much your house costed, what type of shoes you owned, the price of your car, and whatever material items you had. They'll remember you for the impact you made on them and the memories you created. And I think that's something Cody did to all of us. With that being said, I'd like to mention and thank some people for the support and love they've given to Cody along the years. I'd like to start off by thanking the neighbors of Tahoe, Topanga, our ranch in Chico, to my grandparents' neighbors in Lake Tahoe and the ranch. Thank you for your support and help to my family and all you've done for us. To the Topanga neighbors, thank you for making Cody's childhood fun and unforgettable. The neighbors in Chico, thank you for your support and taking care of the boys when Dana needed someone to watch over them or providing a house to stay at for me and my family. Second, I'd like to thank the friends. I'd like to thank the friends of Austin, Jackson, and Davis by showing your support and care. I'd also like to thank the friends of Cody's two brothers, Gary and Curtis, looking out for him like he was your own little brother, and including him in any sort of activities you ever did growing up. In addition to the Moser family, thank you for providing a house and place for my family to stay at when Cody was up at Stanford. It meant a lot. Also, the friends of my grandparents who all love Cody unconditionally, Dana's friends, who I can't even tell you how much these women take care of her. I'd like to thank you for keeping my aunt happy and supporting her like no other. Lastly, Cody's friends, thank you from Topanga to Parkman to Taft to Cal to his life in Chico. Cody always had good quality friends who still to this day remain kind, loyal, and thoughtful. Next, I'd like to thank the Chico community, schools, dialysis center, and Dana's work for being considerate and completely supportive throughout the process. In addition to the university and what it's provided for Cody and all the great opportunities it's giving to him, letting him serve as a coach throughout the years with his coworkers, bosses, assistants along the way. Next, I'd like to thank the hospitals along the way from all over. The job of being a professional doctor is not easy, but the help and care that was given to Cody and my family was a lot to ask. The time, surgeries, and even post-surgeries required a lot of assistance, and the medical staff everywhere Cody attended always did the best they could to make sure he was doing okay. Next, I'd like to start off by thanking all of Cody's 200-plus daughters, his athletes, his girls, his entire life. Thank you for making him complete, allowing him to do what he loved every day, and letting him come to work with a smile on his face. Fun fact, I looked up to you girls so much that I was even a Chico State volleyball player for Halloween. I'll show you my costume. Shout out to you, Jillian, number 6. When I went through his office a few weeks ago, I could just see the love he had for all of you, from birthdays to weddings to even dates of your kids' birthdays posted on his calendar. He expressed his heart for all of you, and I want to thank you all for being such a significant part of his life. Now, when I tell you Cody had 3 brothers, you would think I'm completely crazy, but he did. He had a younger brother, and his name was Tommy Gott. Tommy, you may not be Cody's biological brother, but your friendship with Cody's something like I've never seen before. Cody got to come to work with his best friend. That's not a very common thing to have. Tommy has always looked out for Dana, my grandparents, Austin, Jackson, Davis, and myself. I think Cody truly inspired Tommy because when Tommy and his beautiful wife, Carly, have kids, he will be the greatest and most loving father to his future children. So I'd like to thank you, Tommy, for being my Uncle Cody's right-hand man and younger brother. Next, I would like to thank Dana's side of her family, her Hill family, her father, Larry, mother, Kathy, brother, Darren, his wife, Michelle, and her nephew, Seth, along with her extended family. Thank you guys for the memories you made with Cody and the relationships you built with him. In addition, I would like to include Cody's cousins, Kim for being in Cody's life when he was younger, and Jay and Suzanne for all the activities you would do up in Surprise Valley. Now, Cody's sister-in-laws, my Aunt Karen and my mom Helen, you two supported Cody, Dana, and her boys like no other. From going out to casinos, visiting Chico whenever you could, and simply finding the time you two created with him. It was truly beautiful, and I will always cherish your guys' connection. To add on the impact he made on his nieces and nephews, my cousins Sophie, Kate, and Brandon, and brother Dylan and sister Audrey, Cody was the type of man to create unforgettable conversations. He would sit down with you and genuinely want to catch up, asking questions, always giving us advice and making us better people in a different perspective than our parents would. And I want to thank him for providing all his cousins with his knowledge and support. Next up are his Uncle Roger Davis and Aunt Kathy Davis, also known as Aunt Nee. Roger, even though you're not with us today, you showed Cody what it's like to be a true cowboy. Even though Cody may have never really took action in brandings and whatnot, I believe he truly admired your dedication and work ethic. And Aunt Nee, you truly were a big impact on Cody's life as well. He loved you dearly, and you would always give your love to him in return. I loved hearing his stories he'd tell me when you go up to visit him in Doss Palace, so thank you for providing him with love and care. Next are Cody's older brothers, Gary and my dad, Curtis. You see, Cody never had the functional body to participate in some of the same activities his older brothers did, but that never meant they would leave him out in their eyes. From stories I would hear, they would always make sure their little brother was safe, comfortable, and happy. So thank you, Gary, for having such a big impact on your little brother that he even wanted to go to the same college as you. And thank you, Dad, for knowing how much Cody looked up to you and Gary playing football, but never had the health circumstances that you, one afternoon, went out with him and introduced him to the sport of volleyball. And I heard that one afternoon was really windy as well. You never knew he would fall entirely in love with that sport. So thank you two for both being the best big brothers he could ever ask for. Now, to my Nana and Papa, Cody's mom and dad, you were destined to be Cody's parents, and he was destined to be your son. You two define what it means to be a good and qualified mother and father. To my grandfather, the most genuine and kind-hearted man I could ever meet, you showed Cody what it's like to have a strong and determined work ethic. From coaching to coming home and building your dream house for your 3 boys and wife. You taught him what it's not only like to be a man, but a gentleman. Cody was for sure an old soul, and it's beautiful to see that it was passed down from you to him. So thank you, Papa. And to my beautiful grandma, Nana, I truly have no words for you. You and alongside Dana are some of the strongest women I could ever meet. You know, I'm told when you have kids, they're a great representation of your family because they represent your name and parenting. And all 3 of their boys turned out to be pretty special in their own unique way. My grandparents truly provided their children with the coolest childhood, from traveling to Denmark and living there to going to ski trips, football games, the Olympics, and most of all, creating the most beautiful memories with their kids. Only certain women in this world are blessed with raising 3 boys, and both Judy and Dana are equipped for that task. You see, my Nana will always look out for other people before herself. She always made sure her little boy was doing okay, whether supporting him at volleyball games, taking a horseback ride together, or walking him through the halls in the hospital. Nana and Papa, you have created 3 amazing boys, and they all turned out to impact everyone they meet in the most positive way. So thank you. I love you both. Next are Cody's 3 boys, Austin, Jackson, and Davis. Ozzy, Cody's first baby boy. Austin has a personality like no other, a unique kindness that makes you smile every time you're with him, and his dad has always been so proud of his strong intellect and warm heart that attracts every part of you to just love this little boy so much. And to Mr. Cody Hein Jr., also known as Jackson. Your love for sports, games, and stats truly admires me. I will never forget the beautiful moments of you and your father collecting and arranging many helmets for almost every game you watch. You truly inspired him and allowed him to watch himself grow up for the past 13 whole years. Now, Davis Neal Hein, Cody's little firecracker, the little boy that gave Cody the privilege to feel young and get a laugh out of the funniest things you would say. Davis. Cody was the best representation of a good dad. He was patient, acknowledging, and most of all, he provided every time he got with his wonderful family. He truly cherished it all. And I'm so happy these 3 beautiful boys got the chance to get to know such an extraordinary man for the amount of time they got. And to one of the most amazing women I could ever meet. Dana. When I'm older, I want to be just as an amazing mother and wife as you. You know, with 7.53 billion people in this world, it's almost impossible to try to find your true soulmate. But she found Cody, and Cody found her. No wonder he picked you, Dana. You were truly the most supportive, caring, and nurturing person I could ever meet. Despite the negative things that have occurred along your path this far, you still make the effort to bounce back and become strong for everyone else around you. God, will I miss the way Cody's eyes would brighten when he would look at you? Dana, thank you for being his other half, and then when he got to call his wife, he saw something in you, and I'm so happy you two got the opportunity to start a family together. And lastly, I would like to thank Cody for the impact he made on me, how he made me a better athlete, student, and individual. He taught me my love for sports and how to overcome barriers as an athlete. I will always cherish our text message streams every day of updates on college football. Cody inspired me to pursue the career of sports analysis later on in college. He gave me a little bit of his time almost every day to talk about the stats and news of different sports teams. I would always look forward to his name popping up on my phone, knowing I get to start a new conversation for the day. Even though I may not get that opportunity anymore, I'm blessed to have received all the information that he's given to me. I will also remember how much of a family man he was, whether it was visiting Tahoe, the ranch, or simply creating bowl game challenges for all us to take a part in. The one thing that'll always stick with me would have to be the amount of life lessons he has provided me over the years. When my family went up to Chico for New Year's, we got the opportunity to spend time with my grandparents, Cody, and his family. You see, my whole family has the ability and brain to be capable of completing puzzles, cards, and dice games for hours straight. But with my attention span, my brain cells cannot do it. I can't even go to the movies without being on my phone. It's that bad. But on our last, one of our last nights, or one of my last nights with Cody, he wanted to watch a movie. Cody looked all over for this movie to watch. He tried Netflix, he tried Hulu, and we went to On Demand, and it was $19.99 to buy. And it didn't have the option to rent. He goes, "Let's do it." I thought he was absolutely insane. I mean, who would pay $20 to watch a movie once? In the end, once again, my amazing grandmother came in clutch and ended up having an Amazon Prime account the whole entire time. But we started this movie, and the whole family eventually moved their way to the couch as well. This movie was about a young man who was told when he was younger he couldn't make it to play Division I college. He was too small. He didn't weigh enough. He didn't have the right mindset for it. But this individual proved everyone he met wrong. He may have been the most scrawny one on the team, but dang, was this man a beast. He would challenge himself at practice even when his coach wasn't looking. He would be the first one there, last one out. He would be respectful to his elders and coaches and challenge his work ethic every day. This led him to becoming a star on his college football team. breaking records, winning games, and becoming a household name hero. Now, everything was going so well for this man until he found out he had to end his football career due to finding out he had bone cancer and had to get his leg amputated. You would think he had given up, but no, this young man truly fought. He fought for so much that he made himself relearn how to walk within a couple weeks. He told everyone around him not to worry and to keep living their life for him. Unfortunately, a year later, his condition got so severe that he died. Now, the name of this movie was My All-American, and I never realized it until a couple weeks ago that it was actually Cody that was my All-American. It was a total sign that he made me watch this movie. The last night I was with him, he knew. I will never forget how much it's taught me. Cody lived a beautiful life, and I'm so lucky to have called him my Uncle Bean. Now, I would like to read some of the poems and quotes I found while digging through his office. So this first one, we might not always succeed, but we will always embrace the opportunity to compete that is presented to us. This next one, only strong nerves and determined spirits can endure to the end. And then the last one. And this one he wrote to his Wildcats. I just want to remind you that to laugh is to risk appearing the fool. To weep is to risk being called sentimental. To reach out to another is to risk involvement. To expose feelings is to risk showing your true self. To place your ideas and dreams before the crows to risk being called naive. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But risks must be taken, because the greatest risk in life is to risk nothing. The people who risk nothing, do nothing, have nothing, are nothing, and become nothing. They may avoid suffering and sorrow, but they simply can't learn to feel and grow and love and learn. Chained by their servitude, they are slaves. They've forfeited their freedom. Only the people who risk are truly free. I want to thank everyone for coming out here. I think that Cody's all impacted you in such a positive way. And supporting me, my family, my grandparents, my Aunt Dana, her kids. So again, thank you everyone for coming, and thank you for listening.
I knew Cody in college. We played volleyball together, in the fraternity together, and one of my favorite people on this earth. Such a good energy, such a good light inside of him. Family is incredible too. A couple of quick stories about some of my favorite memories. Somehow he was given the nickname of the Wheezy Man in college. I don't remember where it came from, but every time I would see him, and whenever I used to call him on his birthday, talk to him once in a while, and leave him voicemails, and he was always a very wheezy man, and an inside joke that made us laugh, and that was a good thing that we shared. Another thing that he taught me was the art of the whoopee hunt. So in college, we were roommates one year, and he showed me what it was like to have brothers. I grew up an only child, and I really didn't know, so he educated me while we were getting educated. And if you don't know, a whoopee hunt is when you're asleep and someone comes in and tears off your covers and runs out of the room with them and doesn't come back. And Cody was one of the best I've ever known at the whoopee hunt. And every once in a while, he would wake you up with the announcement, "I'm a-going whoopee hunting." And you knew after that you were going to be cold in about 15 seconds, and usually took a good solid 5 minutes to find the whoopee once it was hunted successfully. And that is a cherished memory. It sounds silly, but one I will never forget. Love you, miss you, Cody.
Growing up, we were away, and then we moved back to Dos Palace. When we moved back to Dos Palace, there was a new person in the family named Kathy Anthony, and she had a impact on all of us almost from the start. But even more so, we realized that behind Kathy was also this amazing family, the Hein family. And Anthony takes me down to LA, and I get to meet the Hein boys and Mel and Judy, and it all becomes kind of bigger than life. You're down there, and you're just with these amazing people. And it changed my life. I think I was like 13, 14, 15 years old, started going down to Topanga, and also you guys coming up to DP or going to the ranch together, and those are really, really, really fond memories. And you really get the whole Hein family when you get into them. And what I with Kathy, it started with Kathy, and then Mel and Judy and the boys, is that you feel a lot of love, and you felt loved and accepted, and it was always wonderful to be around them. And I have a lot of very fond memories, and it was really great to be here to reconnect with the whole family and see Dana and the boys and everybody. So wish them all the love, and continue to live on the life and ideals that Cody embodied. Toughness, but also love and spirit and joy for life. And I think he lived a full life every day of his life. And in the Bible it says we're supposed to be given a life to the fullest, and that's really what Cody lived. I think I'm convinced of that. So God bless you all.
Some of Cody's greatest friends were his gang from Taft High School. I know all of them considered them the fourth brother. And they've gotten together to share their thoughts. So I'd like to welcome up here Seb Bull, Craig Rudnick, Brian Applebaum, Josh Lax, Jason Shano, Scott Friedman, Josh Cook, and Greg Bernard. I think every one of you has slept on my couch in Boston, Gary's couch in Berkeley, and we're going to leave it at that.
Wow. This is really such an incredible event. And yes, we all feel like we were another Hein. And it's amazing, there's 300 other people here who apparently felt the same way. I know we're all really grateful to have been asked to participate in this event as representatives of Cody's oldest and closest friends. All of us went to high school with Cody. Some of us went to junior high, and even back to Topanga Elementary. And we've stayed close ever since. We could stay up here for hours and hours telling stories, but for the sake of time and appropriateness, we'll limit that. Dana had something else in mind. She wanted us to share some excerpts from some of the messages, Facebook posts, texts, things that she's received or other family members have received from many of you and some of the folks who couldn't be here that expressed their feelings and thoughts about Cody. And so we'll read little snippets from those. There's lots of them that we're obviously not going to get to, and they were all just as meaningful. Some of the office quotes that Cody had posted around have been shared. We may share a few more of those because some of them are just so Cody. And then we'll say a few words of our own and maybe tell a story or two, so if we can hold it together. So I'll start off with an excerpt from a Facebook post that some of you may have seen that was written by one of Cody's close family members who's also a dear friend. And he wrote, "I missed the chance to tell Cody how much influence he had on my life. So much of who I am today is a result of clumsily trying to match his footprints in the sand. Cody was simply the coolest person I knew and will likely ever know. He was my family. He was my friend. He is forever a part of me." We've heard a lot of the quotes about competitiveness in sports, but Cody also had things posted around his office. This one really spoke to me. and you can read into that what you will. The only normal people are the ones you don't know too well. And then I want to share a brief story, and a lot of the things that have been said really resonate. You know, we all felt like we were Cody's best friend, and we were, because when you were with Cody, you were it. And part of the magic in how Cody did that is he had his thing that he did with everyone. The special handshake, the funny phrase, the saying when you'd see him. And for me, I'll share what one of mine was, which was the way we took pictures. In junior high sometime, I actually don't remember when the original picture happened. Maybe Judy or Dana have the photo, but there's a photo from junior high of Cody and I with our arms around each other. Might have been graduation. And being awkward 14-year-old boys, we had our arms around each other, but that wasn't cool, so we did this. And when we came across that photo a few years later in high school, Cody and I just thought that was the funniest thing, because those young kids just didn't know. And it could have been left there, and that would have been a funny moment, but Cody needed it to become a thing. And so for 30 years after that, when we'd see each other, that was what we did. There we are at our high school graduation with ear-to-ear grins, leaning like this at Wedstock, again, at random events over the years. And I'll treasure that forever, and I'm sure that so many of you here have that thing that you did with Cody that made you know you were his best friend. So I want to share that. We love you, Cody.
A friend of Cody's wrote, "It would be easy to say I'm a Red Sox fan because of Cody. But if that was true, I would also be a Cowboys fan, and that ain't gonna happen." I am a Cody Hein fan, 100%. To be honest, getting the chance to know and love Cody makes this whole mad experience worth it. I love you, my friend. Happy trails. A quote from Cody's office. All I want in life is to be the person my dog thinks I am. Another friend of Cody's wrote, I have been speechless since the tragic news of Cody's passing. Cody Hein was such a constant in my life from middle school until we became real grown-ups. It's hard for me to imagine a world without him in it. The world will never be the same without his light, his laughter, his hugs, his presence, the twinkle in his eye. It sounds so cliche, but Cody was the best. Really, he was the best. And briefly, one of the ways that I remember Cody is that he was down for anything, at any time, if it was hanging out with a friend. And in college, nobody is going to remember this, but there was a Chinese cooking show in the 90s called Yan Can Cook. And for whatever reason, they were filming an episode of it in some room at the Cal campus. And I don't know how I heard about it, but I talked to Cody about it, and we heard that you get to taste the dishes after he demonstrates the cooking. So the two of us went down and sat through the taping and tasted the dishes. It was just so freaking random. And it was just me and him. It's just one of these things that I'll remember. Like it was said, when you're with him, you felt like you're his best friend. At another time, I organized this chintzy little 4-person low-level intramural volleyball team at Cal. And the day of one of our games, the night of one of our games, one of the players didn't show up, or he said he couldn't make it. I called Cody and I said, can you come play with us? Now, this was illegal because Cody was on the Cal men's volleyball team. But also the fact that I was calling him like right before the game, he was in no condition to be playing volleyball. But he came down anyway, and he played with us, and it was just so cool. And love the guy, really gonna miss him.
This is an excerpt that someone wrote about Cody. My heart is still breaking over the loss of Cody and for his family. Over the years, Cody was not only my coach, my boss, my friend, but my first mentor. He taught me so many valuable lessons that I carry with me every day. He taught me how to be a better human being, to love life, and the importance of loving what you do. He encouraged me to pursue higher education, taught me to believe in myself and others, and was always there to encourage and support me in everything that I did. Here are two more quotes from Cody's office. I'm just picturing him with all the quotes that everyone's sharing, referring to those quotes and pictures in his office on a daily basis for inspiration. One quote is, "No one ever says it's only a game when their team is winning." And another quote, "Think freely, act bravely, live with integrity." I think we can all agree Cody did all of those all the time. Story I want to tell, one of Cody's coaching inspirations was legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden. Some of you may know among John Wooden's legacies is his pyramid of success, which distills core values for achieving athletic and life success. I was looking at it the other day, and Cody exemplified all of the concepts on Wooden's pyramid. But one that stands out to me is competitive greatness, which means having a real love for the hard battle, knowing that it offers the opportunity to be at your best when your best is what's required. I had the privilege of playing high school volleyball with Cody. Now, we didn't have the most talent in the city, and clearly we also didn't have the most height. But we had one thing no one else had. We had Cody Hein. From the very first day of practice, it was Cody who instilled in us the belief that as long as there was still a point of volleyball to be played, we were going to come out on top in the end. Fast forward to the city championship against our rival. We're down 2-1, backs against the wall. We're also down 2 match points. Even in that predicament, it didn't occur to any one of us on the team that we might actually lose. That mindset amongst us was uniquely Cody's achievement. Cody's competitive greatness rivaled that of any top-flight professional athlete, and it was this that led us to turn the tide in that 4th game and then go on to win the championship. Thank you.
Everybody, you've got 2 Joshes up here, both of whom have shaved heads, so bear with us. Gary had read a quote before, what lies behind us and what lies before us are small things, small matters compared to what lies within us. And I checked with Dana, the boss, and I can't think of anything to celebrate Cody than his own words. And he lived his life through his actions and words. He always walked the talk, as all of us know. So a couple of years ago when the team was going to the tourney, it was the day of, he sent a text to these folks up here. And so I want to read it to you because it really embodies his spirit. And so I'm going to try to channel Cody. We need you guys tonight. On paper, this team is better than us. They're bigger than us. They have more postseason experience than us. Almost any physical thing that you can think of, they have an advantage over us. But the game isn't played on paper. It's played in your heart, in your guts, relying on the trust and faith of your teammates. If there's one thing we have on them, it's spirit. In addition to key technical, physical parts of the game, serving and passing, this match has to come down to spirit and heart. And if it does, there's no way my girls aren't winning. 7 p.m. can't get here fast enough. It's a great day to be. One of the best memories that I have of Cody, it's a yearly experience that I've had. So he called me every year on my birthday, except it wasn't my actual birthday that he called me on. My birthday's in September. He'd call me maybe on June 4th, maybe it was May 3rd, December 18th, sometimes in February. And the phone would ring, "Happy birthday, man! I love you!" And it was like celebrating another birthday that year. Never knew when it would come, didn't expect it, but I always know he'd call. And he did it on purpose because of all of us have talked about and all of you know. He was always giving of himself, and he always made you, who was ever in front of him, the most important person or thing. We all love him. I love Cody. We love his family for everything that you've done. So thank you.
I'm going to read because I think that's about what I can handle right now. This message was sent about Cody. I knew Cody. I grew up with Cody. He wasn't just a friend, he was a brother, family. Thank you, Cody, for being you. No one in this world like you. Your humor, your infectious smile, your ability to make everyone laugh and feel a part of it all. We were lucky to have you, so lucky. We miss you. Our hearts have all been broken. This is a quote from his office wall, another one. And I think this is the way I think about Cody. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined. And then these were some words I wrote myself. When I think about Cody, I think about our youth and all the good times we had together. I think about ski trips to Utah. I think about Bass Lake. I think about the ranch. I think about stealing Mel's Budweiser in the basement of the Topanga house. Probably my first beer. When I think about Cody, I think about the Hein family and the great friends he surrounded himself with. When I think about Cody, I wish I could have seen him one more time. But thankfully, I see a little bit of Cody in all of you. I'll miss you.
You guys should see this from this side. Take a second, stand up, and look around. Please. See the impact that this man had. And look at this place. I'd like to read a little something from Mark Bennett, another brother, member of this group, who's not able to be here today, but would have wanted to be here. I spoke with Cody about a week before he died. He said to me, "Bennett, I was a college athlete. We don't quit." I don't know any other way Cody, your life was an inspiration. You knew who the person you were. You knew who you were as a person. And that person was great. And I will always love you. I just wanted to say something to Aussie Jackson Davis. In this life, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. And a lot in between. Whatever comes your way, you guys just remember, we don't quit. Thanks, Coach.
Cody's touched a lot of people's lives. My name is Greg. I'm the fourth son, really the fourth one. The quote I want to read is, "Every day is a gift. That's why it's called the present." And I was just here in September. I drove up, me and my family, went and saw Mel and Judy at the ranch, then came here to Chico and spent 2 days with Cody. And I came to practice one day. And I'm sitting at practice, Tommy can tell you, and I'm like, these girls are being lazy right now. What are they doing? And Cody stops practice. He's like, tell them what you see. I was like, hey, we got to get down to basics. You got to do this, you got to do that. We got to break it down to fundamentals. And that's the day the next day they were going to Hawaii. And so that night we went home. Cody says to me, this is going to be a long year if they keep playing the way they're practicing today. And then the whole year they go on, you guys made the tournament. You guys got down to basics and figured it out. And that's what Cody loved. He loved coaching all you volleyball players. He loved you guys. That made him what he is. And I was talking to several people. I would have loved to have seen Cody gotten healthier so he can have his second surgery, but we would have lost him because he would not have made it this far if it wasn't for you ladies. He coached and gave everything in his present in his weakened state for you guys. He loved the Chico State volleyball. So I just want to thank the athletic director and you ladies for giving us Cody as long as you did. Tommy, girls, great season, and you guys did it for him. He loved it. Thank you, ladies. And Dana, the boys, Judy, Mel, Curtis, Gary, if you ever need any of us, we're here. We're here for you guys. We love you.
Curtis, is it okay if I have some of your Fanta? shaking a little bit. I also have to fix my socks really quick, so hold on 1 second. These are my Cody socks. Let me start by reading a few quotes, and then I'll say a few words if I can. This message was sent in like many others, as has been said. This one is short and very powerful. I always loved seeing him because he had that happy, positive aura. He always made me feel good about life. We were lucky to have him. The office quote, this could be my favorite. It was a bumper sticker that said, "Eat beef. The West wasn't one on salad." So let's see if I can get through this. I have to read, but otherwise I will lose it. My name is Sebastian Bull, or to some, I'm Seb, Sebi Poo. It's liver, or sport. I'm Mel. I think Mel refers to everybody as sport. I've known Cody since about age 7, so over 40 years. He was my best friend. He was actually the best friend of a lot of people in this building. Since he made everyone feel like the best version of themselves when they were with Cody. I grew up with the Hines. Sometimes I felt like I was the 4th Hines son, just not nearly as athletic or good looking as the others. Cody was my first friend in the US after moving from England, and he was the first one who made fun of me at Topanga Elementary with my funny accent when I said surfer. We dressed up and performed as ballerina bimbos and Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders in the 4th and 5th grade talent show, thanks to Judy and my my mother Jan for making the costumes and made us look so ridiculous and have so much fun. I paid him $1 once to save our friendship in elementary school, which was the best dollar I ever spent. We navigated our way through the middle and high school years growing up and traveling with a Hein and Cook family. I played football because of Cody, because he couldn't. And those experiences transformed my life. I watched him thrive in college and even live with him in El Cerrito, what we like to call the EC House of Pain, after college. I watched him grow his relationship with a woman of his dreams, be his best man at Wedstock, and watch him start an incredible family. He was the one who married me and Amy, along with Amy's friend Michelle. And then, of course, he proceeded to dunk his tie in the chocolate fountain at our wedding. I will never forget the pictures of Cody with his tie with chocolate because he loved the chocolate fountain. Cody Barton Hein was this type of friend to everyone. I mean, look at the collection of people we have from Taft High School, California, the US, and the world who have come to celebrate. He would want nothing more than for us to, in his own words, let me get ready for this one, turn up the fun meter. Here's to the greatest man I've ever known. We love you, and we'll have you with us forever. Thank you.
Thank you, brothers 8 through 13.
First time I met Cody, he was picking me up in the airport together with Mel and Judy in the LA airport. My first impression was this guy in a tank top, shorts and flip-flops and his cap. And I was thinking, this is in the nighttime. How can you dress like this? But I wasn't prepared for once we went outside. It was still warm in the night. So this was my first impression. This relaxed guy, and I think I spent a year and maybe 8 out of 10 days. He would just put on his tank top, his shorts, his cap, and that was it. The year he was a total loyal friend. We spent many hours driving from Taft High School up to through Mulholland Drive. I don't get to spend that much time with people, so it left a long impression. We had long talks in the car, going every day back and forth to Taft High School or going to the beach, and we had a great year. I don't think it takes 10 years to do what we did in 1 year. When I recall all the memories, it's incredible. I'm so thankful, and it has had a life-changing impact on my life.
It was really great to be here, to reconnect with the whole family and see Dana and the boys and everybody. So wish them all the love and continue to live on the life and ideals that Cody embodied. Toughness, but also love and spirit and joy for life. And I think he lived a full life every day of his life. And in the Bible it says we're supposed to be given a life to the fullest, and that's really what Cody lived. I think I'm convinced of that. So God bless you all.
So just the joy and fun. I mean, every time I was around Cody, it was always about having a good time, and he knew how to do that. We always had fun. You know, I was good friends with his older brother, and every time we saw Cody, he just brought it, like they said earlier. He always turned up the fun meter, and he had a way of doing that. And he enjoyed his time with us, and he made everybody else have a good time. And it was, anytime he'd show up, we'd always turn up the fun meter, and we always had a good time with Cody and the whole Hein family. They brought that out on all of us.
One of Cody's brothers, Scott Friedman, worked very hard to put together a video montage, pictures from all of us sent about the memories of Cody. Scott, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you all for collaborating in this effort by sending in pictures and also for sharing stories of Cody along the way. Also wanted to let you know that this is going to be viewable on YouTube for those of you, or it is viewable on YouTube for anyone who wants to view it again later. And Dana, thanks for the honor and the collaboration. Hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you, Scotty. That was beautiful. Dana would like to offer anyone who has a brief story or a brief comment they would like to make about Cody to please come up here. It's a chance to say your last farewell. We ask that you keep it brief, but we know you all loved him, and if you have something you would like to say, now would be your time.
I would just like to say that Cody was a wonderful son-in-law, and he was so supportive of our family. We lived in good old Dos Palace. We're not world travelers. We're not grown up with sports. But when he'd come to Dos Palace, he'd make us feel like we were part of him. And we loved him so much. And thank you, all the Chico support, for taking the boys for us when we were watching them and bringing all the food. God bless you.
This is in honor of my younger sister Dana and her 3 beautiful boys. Cody's a man of integrity. He also understood what it meant to be a younger brother with a big heart. And there was another man named King David. He knew all about being a younger brother that had a heart set after God. And I want to share Psalm 23 with you in this time. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and thy staff, that comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overfloweth with you. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In your mighty name, Lord, thank you.
In watching that video, there were 3 pictures that stood out to me. One, I'm sure you all saw too, that was the red Mel. Did everybody see the red Mel? You'd blame it on the camera, but everybody else was a normal color, Mel. I don't know how you got so red. The second 2 were similar. One where Cody was looking into the eyes of what I think it was his grandmother. And then one where he was looking into the eyes of Dana, sharing a dance, probably at the wedding. And there was something about when Cody looked at you, you felt that he saw the best in you. And it tended to bring out the best of all those who were around him. I had something long and drawn out that I had written, and it's amazing to see how consistent the themes were throughout what I had written. I have a lot of stories about Cody that I will share later, but one thing I wanted to say that really came to me as I was thinking about Cody in this last week. One of the reasons that he was so loved is that he was not afraid to love you first. And not many people are like that. I love him and I miss him, and I'm better for having shared a little bit of life with him. Thank you.
I thought we should have a volleyball story. I was Cody's coach at UC Berkeley, and then when he went into coaching and went to Florida, I hired him as my assistant while he got his master's. I will never forget the first time I met the Hein family because Cody came to Berkeley with his parents. And this was unusual because it was a club team and it was just guys would come and try out. and then we had the team. But the parents wanted to talk to me, so of course I was a little bit like, what's going on? So Judy said, Coach, you need to know that on any day, Cody may die. That was the strangest opening conversation I'd ever had. And after your jaw kind of comes off the floor, we talked about his lust for life and that his choice was to live. And as we all know with Cody, he lived every day as much as possible. So he played for me for 4 years, 3 national championships. But I want to relate, and understand, my practices were brutal. 45 minutes of conditioning before you ever touched a ball. And Cody sometimes would turn gray on me, and if I ever told him to sit out, he'd just get mad at me. So I stopped doing that and just kept my fingers crossed. But anyway, this is the spirit of Cody. So his final match, I realized, we had talked that this is going to be it for his competitive career. That he was a senior. We're in the national championship match, and we're playing Graceland, a very good team. And it was 2 out of 3 in that format. So we win a tight first set. And the second set, we're not playing well. We're down 7-3, which was significant in the rally scoring. And I usually would use Cody late in the game because he was a finisher. I couldn't keep him in all the time because of substitution rules. So Cody comes up to me and he goes, Coach, put me in the damn game. I'm going to win it for you right now. Who's going to argue with that? So I say, okay, go for it. And I remember we come in, he serves, they blast the ball off the block. It is past the baseline, past that wall back there. Somehow or other, he runs it down, flies, throws a hand up, gets it. We set the ball to Andrew Katzman, if anybody remembers him. We used to call him Kitty. He gets stuffed straight down. Cody ran 50 feet back, covered the ball. We win this rally, 7-4. Awesome. He proceeds to make spectacular play after spectacular play after magnificent play. The points are piling up. We're down 7-3, then it's 7-all, then it's 9-7, 10-7. He's just making plays. Just like incredible. He comes out, and I know this is the last time he's going to play. So I've got tears starting to come down. He comes out, we're up 12-7. I'm bawling because I know this is his last hurrah. We close out the set, win her 3rd national championship in 4 years, but that was Cody because he had the spirit, the toughness, the belief to do those kind of things, and I just wanted to share that final match with you guys.
I think we can thank you for all the great conditioning we had back in school. Appreciate it, yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Abby Ranzow. I played for Cody here at Chico State from 2005 to 2008. I was lucky enough to be on that first team that took him to the regional playoffs, and it was one of the greater moments of our time here to get to experience that for him and with him over his great career. I remember when I was being recruited, Cody used to always tell us, he recruits for chemistry and for making sure that he had the right people on the court that were friends with each other and had kind of an unspoken bond. And I think every player in here can probably speak to that's absolutely true. Every girl I played with are some of my best friends. I've spoken at 3 of their weddings. Most recently, I officiated one of them in August. And at every one of those speeches, and especially in that wedding, Cody was a huge part of, what I spoke about. One time in particular, she's finding this out now, but I forgot that I was going to be speaking at one of those weddings. And I told Cody that in confidence before the wedding. And while I was being announced, I got a text on my phone right before I stood up to go up there. And it was from Cody. And I knew that it was going to be some kind of joke or probing thing because he knew I was about to go up there and make a speech that I was kind of going to wing. And I shot a look over to him across the ballroom sitting at his table, and he just looked at me with this smirk on his face, and I knew that it was just going to mess with my head when I walked up there. So I opened the text as I'm standing up to walk up to the microphone, and all the text says is, don't fuck it up. Yeah, I didn't fuck it up, just for the record. I read that text the second I stood up there and took the mic. He gave us all such a great sense of humor and kept us all together. And I can't think or look at any of my girlfriends from that time without thinking of him. And I'm so grateful for that, and for Dana and the whole family. Mel and Judy, you guys let us stay at your Tahoe house every year, which is the wildest idea I've ever heard. Thankfully, we had adults around to keep us in check, but it's amazing. I don't think I've ever seen these bleachers this full either, by the way. Not at any of our games, at least. But this is amazing to see all these people. I feel like he's here. I know he just mentally texted me right before I walked up here, and rightfully so. So thank you all for sharing in these moments with us. Appreciate it.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mitch Cox. I'm the commissioner of the CCAA, and for 16 years, I was the associate athletic director here at Chico State and the PA announcer for all the volleyball matches. And as Anita said early on today, Cody was our first hire, and I was hired in October of 2002, and Anita asked me to run the volleyball coaching search, so I did. And I was still kind of new back into Chico, and I didn't really know much about Chico because I hadn't been here for a long time. And you know, one of the things you do when you bring candidates in, you take them to meals. And so I said, okay, I'll take Cody to breakfast. And the only place I knew to go get breakfast was the Italian Cottage. And because I really like the Italian Cottage. And everybody said, no, you got to take him to Sino Cortez. Sino Cortez has the best breakfasts. I'm like, okay, I'll go. So I say, Cody, let's go to Sino Cortez, we'll talk. So we go and we have a great breakfast, talk stories, talk volleyball, the whole 9 yards. And the waitress comes up and hands me the bill, and I pull out my credit card. And she says, I'm sorry, we don't take credit cards. And I go, okay. And my wife will tell you that I never have more than $3 in my wallet, and I did not have more than $3 in my wallet. And so I looked at Cody, who's there for a job interview. You got any money on you? And he's looking at me like I'm insane. And fortunately, being a coach, he was prepared. He had money. He paid for breakfast. I swore we'd pay him back. I think we did. I went back to the office. Anita said, how'd it go? I said, oh, it was a great interview, except he's not going to take this job. There's no frickin' way he's taking this job, not after what I just did to him. But again, thank you all for coming. I'm passing along the love of the CCA coaches staff, all the coaches in the league. I know some of them are here today, but throughout the last couple of years, as I would go to campuses and whatever, first thing they'd ask is, how's Cody doing? And they cared. It's a caring group of people, and we miss them, and God bless you. Thanks.
Well, first, it's a little off script, but Abby, if it makes you feel any better, I heard that saying too many times in my time. So, hi. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Tommy Gott, and Cody definitely felt like a brother later in the years, but to start, Cody was my first husband. Thanks for putting up a little volleyball humor. Dana, thanks for putting up with me for too long, probably. But I've had the pleasure and honor of knowing and working with Cody for 12 years. To me, Cody was a great mentor, coach, colleague, but most importantly, definitely one of my best friends. Cody's always been someone I've looked up to. I've always appreciated how he's never tried to hide or sugarcoat anything in this profession and been completely honest about everything. He has been a role model as a father and shown how you incorporate your family into your profession. And that is something that I definitely hope to achieve and maintain in my own life. Two things that Cody always asked for out of anyone coming into the program was passion and intensity. And Cody brought more passion and intensity than anyone I've ever known. You can definitely see all that passion here today. Some of his proudest and most fond moments and memories was when any of his alums would come back and spend time with current players on the team and time with him. He loved to share memories, laughs, and maybe a toast too. It's been fun being a part of that culture and witnessing it firsthand, especially when you think about all the years Cody has spent coaching. There's such a range of classes here today, even back towards his Florida Tech days. We all share a bond and we have him to thank for that, and I honestly know he couldn't be happier than he is right now looking down upon us all here together. From a good friend of mine sitting down here in the front row, he taught me how to write a speech. You need an intro, a favorite memory, and an outro. I've probably got too many favorite memories that I want to share right now. Save that for a beer later. But spend a lot of time just thinking about my outro. And simply put, Cody isn't human. The things he's done in his life, the family he has, the bonds he's created, it speaks volumes just above the man that he is. He will never be forgotten, and his legacy will forever carry on in so many ways. Thank you, and as always, it's a great day to be a Wildcat.
So my name's Jody, and I'm one of the lucky people who got to share the life growing up with several families in Topanga Canyon with the Hines. And it really was a privilege and an honor. And after my family moved north to Idaho, Mel and Judy took me in, and I'm not the fourth brother, but maybe I'm an older sister, I don't know. But I just want to share very briefly. I was lucky enough to be old enough to remember Cody's birth. And soon after he was born, we all gathered to celebrate on the property that became the home that the Hines built in Topanga Canyon. And it was just open land then, and grass and trees, and it was in the spring, and everything was beautiful and green. And thinking I was a great writer, I wrote a poem at that time, and I couldn't find a copy of it, but I remember one of the lines said, what does this life hold? It was all sorts of things, but what does this new life hold? And I certainly could not have known in my 12-year-old imagination at that time that one life could have held so much laughter, so much giving, so much triumph, so much challenge, so much love and family and friendship, and just so much heart. I know I speak for everybody who grew up in the Hein orbit in Topanga. We love you. We're going to miss Cody. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie Markey. This is going to be rough. I had the pleasure of being the first freshman when Cody started coaching at Chico State, and then had the pleasure of coaching with him. So I had the experience of playing for him and wondering why the hell he was making us do all the things that we were doing, and then coaching with him and finding out why Cody did the things that he did. And my first ever experience meeting Cody was the first day at 6 a.m. track. And we all gathered together. He introduced himself and he said, "All right, Jamie, please come here." And I said, "Okay, this is intimidating." And I come up and he made me count every single time one of the players missed a mile call-in. And it was 17. I still remember this, 17 years later. And he made us run 1,700-yard dashes. And the reason he did this was because Cody believed in instilling integrity and accountability in every single person. We were a team, and he did everything he could to instill that in us. And it was evident in our long office talks that he didn't believe in just creating great players, but great human beings. When we get our text messages every birthday, on our kids' birthdays, Cody believed in creating good people. And that is clear when you look in this room. He would always tell us, look around the room. These will be the people that will be standing next to you when you get married. And as 18-year-old girls, you're probably thinking, yeah, right, we'll see. But I think by a show of hands, how many of you have been in one of the girls' weddings? And that's the legacy that Cody has left. I know that being a young 18-year-old female coming into college, you have no idea what you want to do in your life. And Cody spends the time to mold you, to develop you, to pave the way for your future. And he was excellent at that. So, Dana, also shout out to you, because I know what it's like to be a mom with the husband on the road all the time. And thank you for giving Cody to us for all that time. So, thank you.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Keith Cockett, and I was a football and rugby teammate of Gary, and also a roommate, and one of his 17 best friends. And we got to show Cody the ropes at Cal long before he was there. And I can say without a doubt that I am the fourth Hein brother. So when he was coaching at Florida, they came to Hawaii to play University of Hawaii. And we go to the game, and he has a free day the next day. He says, hey, let's hang out. And I said, all right. I go, what do you want to do? And he goes, I want a cliff jump. All right. So pick him up. We go to a place called Kapena Falls. Beautiful river comes down, nice pond, and it's about a 35-foot jump. So Bean comes up to the edge. He goes, oh, yeah, I can do a flip off of this. And I go, Bean, you're not doing a flip off of this. I said, let's just jump together. We'll stand next to her. We'll have Bernie, my wife. She'll go down and take a picture of us. He goes, all right. So I get your foothold, ready. 1, 2, 3, and all I see are feet coming over the top. Hit the water. I come up, and there's Bean. Floats to the top of the water. Swim over, pokes his head up. His eyes are about this big. You're right, you're right. You're going to be okay. Let's move to the side slowly. And then he goes, air. Just need air. Finally get him to the side, pull him up. He is beet red from here to here. Over-rotated, boom. We sit there a few minutes while he's catching his breath, and we're laughing, of course. And, and he just takes a deep breath and goes, man, I'm glad Judy Hein wasn't here to see that. So we start walking our way out, and there were a couple of local kids sitting on the path up, and this one guy looks at me, he's like, brah, Holly boy, crazy. Oh, fun time. So I'd like to share a song with you guys. In our last queen wrote a love song. It's called Aloha Hawaii. And it's about a couple lovers, and they're splitting, or not splitting, but they're leaving their time together. So in Hawaii, we never say goodbye. We only say until we meet again, a hui ho. So for you guys. Ha'aheo e ka ua i nā pali. Ke nihi a ela i kana hele. E hahai ana pahai ka lipo. Pua ahi lehua o uka. Aloha oe, aloha oe, e ke ona no i ka lipo. One fond until we meet again. Until we meet again. Thank you.
I went to one of his practices once, and the intensity of his practice and the way his players related to him with respect and the way he related to his players. He loved his players. And I remember talking to him once about his team, about 3 or 4 years ago, and he would light up when you talk about his team. That's how much he loved those players. And so instead of a specific thing, I remember that, because that was a reflection of who he was.
Some poor decision making at some point in high school where it's possible that Cody and I might have arrived to school having imbibed a little bit beforehand, and that seemed to come to somebody's attention. So we were sent to the nurse at school to have a breathalyzer done, and Cody managed to teach me without saying a word exactly how to make sure everything was going to be okay, and that is that when he was given the breathalyzer, he inhaled instead of exhaling, and it registered as 0.0, and I followed suit, and everything was okay.
One of Cody's colleagues here came up with a saying that I think stuck with all of us as we've seen it. Tough times don't last, tough people do.
Hey everybody, it's been a bittersweet day celebrating Cody's life. He was an extraordinary guy. I got to know him as a student athletic trainer at Chico, working with volleyball, and he and Dana just welcomed me right in, made me part of the family, and that's just the kind of feel you get from his teams. It's just a big family. And Cody was a really tough guy. We know he went through a lot in his life with his health, and but that's not what he wanted people to remember him by, and he did not want people to feel sorry for him. He didn't give any excuses, and he didn't take any either. And so I just really cherish the time I got to know him, and I wish I had more, like many of you probably do. So I'm honored to be able to share this song with you guys. Wrote it a few months ago and interviewed Dana and got all the information so I can make this story right. And one thing that sticks with me is I got to talk to Cody after he heard it, and he did tell me that he appreciated the way that this song told his story. And so I'm honored, and I'm so thankful, Dana, for all the love and support you're getting, you and the boys, from everybody from all over the country. And it's just a testament to how wonderful you guys are, and what an impact Cody had on so many people's lives, and I'm definitely no different. So I've got my Tough Times Don't Last, Tough People Do shirt on that Dana was gracious enough to send me. And so hope you all enjoy this song. Let's celebrate Cody.
Since he was born, he's always been a fighter. 3 years old, they opened up his chest. 2 more times before he got to high school. His heart wasn't built quite like the rest. His high school teammates nicknamed him the Heart Man, for the heart and soul that helped him rise above. He had been through more than most would in a lifetime before he drove a car or went to prom to dance. If he was going down, he'd go down swinging. All he ever wanted was a fighting chance. Deep inside his heart, he always knew the tough times, they don't last. Tough people do. 46 years old, he had his fit. His kidneys and his heart, they took a hit. Mama came back home alone. The kids knew it was bad. It would be 5 weeks before they saw their dad. Full of tubes and wires, he couldn't say I love you. Mama said they'd know it when he squeezed their hand. They had been through more than most would in a lifetime before they drove a car or went to prom to dance. If Dad was going down, he'd go down swinging. All he ever needed was a fighting chance. He was teaching his boys what he always knew. The tough times, they don't last. And tough people do. Tough people do. For 6 months she was back and forth to Stanford, spending half the time at home and half with him. She planned his funeral not once or twice, but 3 times. Yeah, they stared down death, but neither one gave in. He fought every moment for his life back, and the best gift he could give to us was him. He had been through more than most would in a lifetime before his kids could drive or go to prom to dance. When Cody went down, man, he went swinging. He kept fighting until he took his final breath. In this game called life, he had something to prove. Tough times, they don't last. Tough people do. Tough people do. Yeah, you've been through more than most would in a lifetime. But tough times, they don't last. Tough people do. Tough people do.
Dana, I love you. Cody, fly high, brother. We love you and miss you.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm ready to party Cody style. One thing he always used to say in those letters that he'd send about the Wildcats, he said, let's raise the roof off this Aker gym. And I think it's time for us all to let off a little steam before the party begins. So I want you all to join me. There's a tradition at the Cal football games. Half the crowd yells go, the other half yells Bears. We're gonna change it a little bit here because we don't know where he's going, but we know he's going hard. I want this half to yell go, and this half to yell bean, and then we're gonna go get some beers. Are you ready? Go! God bless you, Cody. We love you.
I think one of the things that stood out to me today that really brought home what Cody means, not just to me, but to I think everyone here, is that in that gym, there were probably over 500 people. And I think at a gathering like that, to honor somebody, ordinarily a lot of the people there would be in support of their loved ones being there, or may know the person somewhat peripherally. And I think through all the stories you heard people talking about, both when actually speaking or just as asides when people were hanging out, is that of those 500 people, I think everyone there at some point or another learned something from Cody, felt supported by Cody at a key time of their life, felt inspired by Cody to be their best in something or be their best self in making a difficult choice. And also I can definitely say that every single person there laughed a lot with Cody and because of Cody. And to affect people not just so broadly, but so deeply, was his unique trait. And I also know that for me personally, some of the very best, most hilarious times that I've had in my life were times with Cody, and quite often induced by Cody.